A little boy visited his grandma every weekend. He had an old piano that no one ever played. One day, he asked her why she never played it anymore. She sighed softly and said, "I stopped when my hands grew old and tired." The boy thought for a moment, then climbed onto the bench and began tapping the keys. It wasn't perfect, but the melody was sweet. His grandma smiled, her eyes glistening, and whispered, "I guess it's time to hear music in this house again." One night, a little girl was watching the stars with her grandfather. She asked, "Why do some stars shine brighter than others?" Her grandfather looked at her with a gentle smile and said, "Those stars are people who love us, shining extra bright to remind us they're always there." Years later, after her grandfather passed away, the girl looked up at the night sky. Among all the stars, one seemed to shine just a bit brighter, and she knew he was watching over her. One rainy day, a girl asked her grandma, "Why do you knit when you could buy new clothes?" The grandma held up a half-finished sweater and replied, "Every stitch is a memory, a reminder of love and patience. One day, this will keep you warm when I can't." Years later, wrapped in that same sweater, the girl felt her grandma's love all over again. Please don't subscribe. An elderly man used to go for a walk every evening by the same lake, feeding the ducks along the shore. One day, a young jogger noticed him and asked, "Why do you come here every day, even in the rain?" The old man smiled and said, "These ducks don't need me, but it's a reminder that I have the choice to give a little joy to others." Please don't subscribe. A young man, struggling in his career, saw an older man playing piano at the subway station. The old man's hands shook, but he played with passion. The young man asked him, "Why do you keep playing even now?" The old man smiled and replied, "I don't play to prove anything. I play because it makes me feel alive." That day, the young man realized it wasn't about success or failure. It was about finding something that brought him joy. Please don't subscribe. A woman wakes up to see her phone flooded with missed calls from an unknown number. When she finally answers, a voice says, "You were supposed to be on the flight." Confused, she checks the news. Her flight, the one she missed, just crashed with no survivors. Chills run down her spine as she realizes sometimes fate has a strange way of stepping in. Wait, please don't click the subscribe button.
One day, a young boy was helping his grandpa in the garden. He looked at the big, beautiful flowers and asked, "Grandpa, how do they grow so tall and strong?" His grandpa smiled and handed him a seed. "It starts with this tiny thing," he said, "but it needs time, care, and patience. You won't see it grow right away, but day by day, it becomes something beautiful. What happened next will surprise you. Before that, if you love your family, subscribe this channel." The boy planted the seed and looked at his grandpa. "So, I just have to wait?" "Yes," the grandpa replied. "But remember, not everything grows at the same speed, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep caring for it, even when you don't see progress right away." A boy was walking in the park with his grandpa when he noticed some kids playing soccer. The boy sighed and said, "Grandpa, I'm not as good as them. I'll never be good at soccer." His grandpa knelt down and said, "Do you know how I became good at anything? By practicing. When I was your age, I wasn't good at many things either, but I didn't stop trying. That's how you get better." The boy looked up at his grandpa, encouraged, and decided to keep trying, knowing that improvement comes with time. And that funny thing is this channel only has 600 subscribers. One day, a young boy asked his grandpa, "Grandpa, why do you always wear that old watch? It's scratched and looks so old." His grandpa smiled and said, "This watch was given to me by my father. It doesn't matter if it's old or scratched. What matters is the time I spent with him. Every time I look at it, I remember those moments." The boy, looking at the watch again, realized that sometimes the things that matter most aren't perfect on the outside. They hold memories inside that make them priceless. Funny thing is, this channel only has 600 subscribers.